But I do have the Rams circled right now against the Cardinals. Cardinals got off to a nice little start. They were a fun team, but now they're losing a bunch of guys. You lose Buddha, and that's your best.
That's it.
That's your best player.
Yeah.
I was going to say your best guy in the secondary, your best safety. That's your best player on the team. And Dobbs was a little shaky. And you lost
James Conner.
Yeah, now you lost Conner, and Dobbs was a little shaky last week.
Yeah, he was.
Didn't really look like he did the first couple weeks of the season. Maybe he's going back to just being Josh Dobbs, which is fine. He's a career backup.
The NASA guy.
And the Rams, I think, are going to be a little bit better because Cooper Kupp had 8 receptions, and that was his first game in forever. You still have Puka. You have Tutu. And the defense, it's kind of just a bunch of Jags and Aaron Donald, but I feel good enough that at home you could win the game. Not cover, just win the game outright. So I have the Rams circled, and then the Eagles circled.
Nice.
Against the Jets. But do I really want to bet a road team?
No.
And do I really want to go against the Jets, who are starting to figure some things out maybe
Eagles,
here a little bit?
Don't overthink that. Eagles are winning that game.
Yeah, but the Eagles are capable of laying an egg even against a mediocre or bad team. We saw the Eagles suffer their first loss last year to, the Commanders.
Yes.
The Commanders.
Granted, divisional game, though.
I mean, and that's the thing. The divisional games, especially between those two, we just saw it a couple weeks ago. It's always closer than what it is. Now, if you're talking about Eagles to cover on the road against the Jets, I could maybe... I would not be worried about the Eagles on the road at the Jets.
So then you would take a measure Survivor team, -7.
I can make the case for the Jets to win that game.
Yep.
Jalen throws a couple interceptions, gets sloppy with the football. Maybe there's some fumbles.
Jets almost beat the Chiefs at home.
The Jets.
Aaron Rodgers will be in the building, of course.
Maybe the Eagles win 14-10. Or no, I'm sorry. Maybe the Jets pull off a 14-10.
17-14 type of a game.
Weird win at home. I mean, nobody, when Aaron Rodgers got hurt week 1, who thought that they were going to beat the Bills outright?
No one.
Nobody did.
What about the Jags coming back from London? I know that there's a trend of a London hangover, except for that the Colts haven't beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville since I was in high school.
I bet the Colts in this game. I don't know that there's much of a drop-off.
I like them +4, but I think Jags still win that game.
Yeah. I worry about a little bit of that hangover.
Yeah.
And also, listen, Gardner Minshew can sneak up on any team. I know we laugh and make fun of Minshew Mania, but, it can be a thing. Yeah, and I know the Jags have looked good, but they spent 2 weeks in London and now they're coming back here. We've seen it when teams spend 1 week. 2 is even going to be more of an adjustment. That type of stuff is not something to scoff at.
I always try to stay away from divisional games just because the opponents know each other so well, unless you have to. And if it's late in the season and you're still around, that hasn't been the case for me in a couple of years. This is the latest I've actually been around the last 3 years. I still have the Chiefs available, but I can make the case for the Broncos to win that game as crazy as it sounds.
No, you
I
can't.
Travis Kelce doesn't play. We don't feel good about the other options. And Mahomes has another game where he turns the ball over a ton. Broncos defense shows up, plays in primetime. Bunch of guys on the defensive side of the ball that were a top 5, top 10 defense the last couple of years that want to get moved. They want out of that situation. They're sick of Sean Payton. They'd rather have the real Kevin James coaching the team.
Offense, they may have him.
Offense scores enough points. It's probably not going to happen, but crazy stuff happens in the NFL. We just who thought that the Bears? I'm not saying we're going to win outright. Anybody could have made the case against the Commanders. Although could they have? Everybody that came on the show was Commanders aren't losing this game. I was the only one that said the Bears had a shot in that game.
You were. You were the Lone Ranger.
The NFL is weird, weird stuff can happen.
You got the same, 3 guys pitching well. Nola had a great start. Wheeler's been lights out all year. And Suarez, has stepped up. So, no, it's a great Phillies team, offensive juggernaut. In Atlanta, they ran into some pitching problems at a long time here with Max Fried, getting hurt. Won't have Charlie Morton this first round. And I think it's a great series. I think this is really the World Series. I think whoever wins this series wins it all.
This just feels, at this point, we can look here and say Puka Nacua is having really a historic season. Bijan Robinson's been great, though he hasn't gotten to the end zone on the ground. It's been more of as a pass catcher right now. This is C.J. Stroud's award to lose. With what he's been able to do, not throwing a single pick yet this year, putting up a ton of yards, throwing the ball as much as any quarterback is in the NFL right now, behind an offensive line that's got third stringers, backups to the backups to the backups, are all out there for C.J. Stroud. Yet he looks like a veteran. He looks like a pro. He looks like a guy that's been out there 5-6 years, winning Super Bowls and winning MVP. Okay, maybe he doesn't look like an MVP, but, he has been above and beyond not only what anybody expected, but now you've added in all these other wrinkles, and he's still succeeding with that out there, too. We know that, look, quarterbacks are always the glamorous position. You know it with MVP. It's the same thing with Offensive Rookie of the Year if you got a quarterback that's playing the way C.J. Stroud is, too.
Yeah, man. I think that the whole C.J. Stroud all that, like, I don't know if it was slander, but certainly was like a lot of negativity around that pick too.
Oh, there's
right?
a bunch of slander. I mean, he didn't do well on a test, and then you're like, well, what is the test? And everybody's like, oh, you just got to trust me, bro. This test, all the quarterbacks that fail this test, anybody that fails, complete bust. And I'm like, well, what is the test? If I don't know and if you don't know, then how the hell is C.J. Stroud supposed to know? Maybe he was a little hungover. Maybe it was a night where he went to Andy's Pizza, ate 2 whole pies, had a little bit of a tummy ache, and was up all night. I've been there.
And he had a little post-pizza brain fog.
I hate when we do that with the testing and when we do that with the hand size and the bench press, because you know what always passes for me? The eye test. And I saw C.J. Stroud play good enough to beat Georgia. And I was like, oh, what's the knock on C.J. Stroud? Well, he's not athletic enough. I don't know. He used his legs in that game. He made every single throw. The only reason they didn't beat Georgia is because some field goal kicker couldn't do his damn job.
Do you think he would have been the number 1 pick if they would have beaten Georgia?
No, I think it was always Bryce.
The thing
I think
is,
I should have been CJ.
CJ was the number 1 pick in the regular, like in the middle of the season, and then over time, it was just finding ways to bring him down.
Yeah.
I mean, he deserves the offensive rookie of the year. Absolutely, it's his to lose.
What do you think about Bijan? Obviously, like the price, you're missing it a little bit here. It's only 5-1, but if Atlanta's good enough to win 9-10 games,
yeah. Listen, Bijan is somebody that has the ability to do both for them in the run game and the pass game, and we've seen that. It's just more consistent. Now, if they're going to give him he just needs to get in the end zone on the ground. We haven't seen much of that yet. You're going to need some of those numbers for him to win it, but I think they've made it clear that he's their feature back. He's their main guy. They're giving him the football. They want to have all the opportunities that they can to just make him the focal point of that offense. And look, I don't expect Desmond Ridder to be what he was last week every single week. I'm sorry. Everybody was getting all excited about Zach Wilson after one game. Oh, he looked good, but he still screwed up at the end of the game, and all of his teammates were patting him on the back. So what? I think Bijan Robinson's got a chance to still be a star this year, but it's just going to be difficult because, again, It's easier for a rookie running back to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but you're still playing behind and fighting for that award when you got C.J. Stroud playing the way that he is. If C.J. Stroud hits a rookie wall, though, that could be the difference.
Well, and not just that, but if you look at what Breece Hall did in his rookie year compared to before he got hurt, compared to what Bijan is doing, it's just on a whole other level, really. I'm trying to get Breece Hall stats, right? So in 2022, he had 80 carries for 463 yards, 4 TDs, right? But you look at Bijan, he's only getting like 14 attempts per game. He only has two games so far over 100 yards, and the other ones aren't even close to 100.
Yeah.
Last one, 46. 2 weeks ago against the Lions, and listen, I know the Lions have a really good rush defense, but that's just, you still have to be better than 3.3 yards per pop, right? 33 yards for Bijan there, and then against the Panthers, and the Panthers aren't one of the best defenses in the league by any stretch of the imagination. 10 attempts for 56 yards, so just not getting the workload for me. Yeah, he's getting a little bit of work in the receiving game, but it's kind of all over the place. 6 against the Panthers, 2 against the Texans, so it's a no for me for Bijan.
Yeah.
And I was really high on him before the season started.